Mic'd up.
Can you hear
Hey,
me now?
hello.
Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you.
You can?
We can hear you now.
Well, we could start again because this is a whole new show.
Oh, maybe I can hear you that way. A little bit better. Ah,
There you are.
I was wondering why I was talking and you just kept talking and talking. So we're restarting our show. Let's see what happens if this works. God knows what's going to happen. We could be just talking to ourselves as usual. But anyhow, do you want to go on your rant again?
Damn, it was a good one too. It was a real good one.
I understand. Started with I understand what they're doing.
All right, listen, I understand what they're doing. They feel the need to protect the brand, protect these guys from something what I don't know. But it's just sad to me that they've sunk to the level where they feel the need to protect this rolling back thing or this story. They don't like the sound of it because they're not supposed to do that. But you know what? If there's nothing that they can do, if they have financial constraints, I mean, there are 230 million or what, 330 million, whatever it is. They're not paying an insignificant amount. They are well over the luxury tax. So I mean, it's not like they have such a hard time explaining this, but they can't seem to tell their fans that enough is enough. This is what they have. We're going to play with it and we're going to try to win. And why not go a step further and say we still have a whole season to get better? We have young guys coming up. We have the trade deadline. We have, lots of options. People being cut at spring training. We could pick up some guys and maybe we'll have a better year. But they can't. They can't bring themselves to say it. They have to say, this is what we have and we are great and we love this team. How could they love this team?
Well, let me
Sorry.
just start with this this whole show is in response to the challenge from Brian Cashman, where he says they're championship caliber and they challenge anyone to say otherwise. We don't think that they're championship caliber. We think they might be playoff caliber. The biggest thing to me is yeah, they're rolling it back. You want to know what the major changes are from last year at the end of the World Series to today? Goldschmidt's gone, Volpe's gone, Rodon is gone, Williams and Weaver are gone, and we're done. Everything else is exactly the same.
There's a couple other guys that are gone. Isn't there some more dead wood that they
There's
dumped?
Ian Hamilton and Mark Leiter, but the dead wood.
Well, no. That's actually a wonderful subtraction. They are actually better for not having those guys,
Right. So,
especially
but if you think about it, and
Leiter.
the only
No
differences
offense.
the only differences they really have is Cabrera's back, right? He's the only offensive player that's back, and they have us, and that's it.
And we really don't know how good he's going to be. I don't even have the role now. They've given Rosario that role, the third base. They've given Caballero is going to be the big role. He may not have a role after Volpe comes back, assuming Volpe's still on the team. And here's the question: if Volpe is going to survive, let's just say Caballero gets off to 300 start, has 20 stolen bases in April. What are they going to do? I mean, are they really going to cut him and move him out of a primary role?
By that time we'll know that McMahon is a strikeout machine, and by then Stanton will be hurt, so they'll have spots to play people. The big question is this: is you saw what the A's did today, right? 7 years, $70 million for Jacob Wilson after his rookie season.
Wow!
And that's after his rookie season. Volpe has never had a season like Wilson had. Yes, Wilson doesn't walk, but he still has a 311 batting average and a 340, 350 on base. Not that much slugging for a guy who plays in Sacramento, and his defense is equal to Volpe's. It's adequate. So we'll see what happens. And he's going to end up moving off of shortstop because the A's have their best prospect as a shortstop. So he's going to end up moving off of shortstop, and we'll see what happens to that because the A's don't really have, Zach Geloff at second base it is what it is. So, but the Yankees don't have any young players that they can make a contract like that with. I mean, the A's have signed Lawrence Butler. They signed Tyler Soderstrom. Now they signed Jacob Wilson. They're talking about signing Langoliers and Nick Kurtz. What Yankee minor leaguer who's come up through the system have the Yankees ever bought out their arbitration years? And that's the biggest problem I have is this team does not get better because of the players that they bring in from their own system. You were saying that the Yankees have some young players. My answer to that is no, they don't. The Yankees' young players do not get better once they get up on the major leagues, and that's my biggest concern. Is everybody's talking about Rice being better, Rice being better, Rice being better. Well, as they keep saying, the Yankees' young players do not get better once they
Well,
get to
here's
the
the
major.
problem. Here's the reason why that argument gets killed by management all the time and by a large base of the fans. It's it's that they developed the greatest player of the 21st century, you
Right, he's
know,
the only one.
and that's the problem. The one guy that they did hit a home run, bring up and develop fully, turned into an amazing player, albeit at the age 25 season. So his career will be relatively short, which is unfortunate.
Well, he
But
went through. He played 4 years in college, and nobody does that. And he was a year behind because he started later. But the whole point is this: is Judge is not what Judge was supposed to be coming up. He was not supposed to be the big guy. Greg Bird, Tyler
mm,
Austin, Gary Sanchez, Miguel Andujar.
yeah,
Those were the guys. Judge was behind all of those guys.
hmm
So it's a question of, yeah, there's some luck involved, but right now the Yankee and all of the guys that we've been talking about, they do not get better at the major league level, and that's the
no.
biggest concern I have with Ben Rice. He's one of the bigger
So
question marks.
So let's dive into that a little bit. I think there are people who ask that question all the time. Why do, in our highly educated opinions, why do the Yankees have a hard time developing? Is it
Well,
that
but it's not just developing hitters; it's developing high IQ baseball players. Right? Think about all the guys that they come up with. Now, this is not to say that Volpe's not a high IQ guy, but he's
Mhm.
not a good player. It's not to say
Yeah.
that Rice could go both ways, but I still think Rice is a butcher on defense at catcher and at first base. But
Mm,
you know, Dominguez has definitely not proven himself to be a great baseball player, and he's made some questionable decisions. The Yankees are a terrible base running team at players that come up, except for Judge and Bellinger. They're a terrible base running team. Goldschmidt was a good base runner, but whatever. The Yankees just don't develop anything internally, and
okay.
they're
Why?
constantly they're
Why?
constantly they're constantly, as you said last week, looking for people to hit the ball in the air, pull side, which fine, but you can't do that anymore because if the Yankees are looking to hit the ball in the air, the whole purpose of getting rid of the shift was the left-handed hitters losing those hard ground balls to right field. They weren't losing their home runs. They weren't losing their driving the ball to the outfield. They
Hmm.
were losing the ground ball base hits. And the Yankee hitters do not get the ground ball base hits because they all hit it in the air. And
Right.
that's my biggest problem with Rice is he hits it hard, he hits it in the air. Guess what? If you hit it in the same spot every time you get up, no matter how hard you hit it, if it's catchable, it's going to get caught at the major league level. He's
Mm,
not hitting hard ground balls to the left or the right of the second baseman so it gets through the hole. He's not hitting balls to down the to the shortstop hole if the shortstop is standing behind second base, which is as far
yeah.
as it can go. He's hitting
Yeah.
fly balls to spots where guys are. So at best, he's going to be a 250 hitter. The only hope they have is that he truly can hit the ball over the fence more often, which is possible. But he's a DH.
All right. So let's dive into the we understand um the process. We understand the disease. What about the symptoms?
Well,
You know,
the symptoms is their analytics.
but but no, I think that they really believe that people pay to see these home runs. I think that they love the idea of these. It's one of those things that makes the hairiness on the back of my back go up every time I hear it. He likes these big hairy monsters, come in and hit 400-foot home runs, in their sleep. I don't. One of those things. Why are they so married to this one way of winning baseball games
Well,
that seems to be archaic, in my opinion?
it's everybody. Well, think about it. The Moneyball era, which the Yankees did a great job of transitioning to in the late '90s and early 2000s, was one thing, and then everybody started going, with Sosa and McGuire. Chicks love the long ball, blah, blah, blah. And the Yankees transitioned to that. Then baseball started shifting and baseball started to figure things out that it's easier to get more swing and miss from the guys. And baseball started to change, or it's starting to change. You start seeing, the change to the base size was moved it even further, but base running and stealing bases had started to come back into the game before the
Hmm.
deep the box bases. And what's still not back in the game, but it's starting, was more last year with the better hitting teams, with the higher contact teams, was hit and run, taking an extra base. All those things that players are no longer good at with regard to the fundamentals on defense and the fundamentals of hitting. The better teams, the Blue Jays offensively, the Dodgers offensively, the Cubs offensively, the Astros before they started losing all their players offensively, were all able to make contact. Now,
Hmm.
look at a guy like Eugenio Suarez. I'm just going to call him Suarez because I can't say his first name. The man has one of the highest barrel rates in baseball. He's coming off a year where he hit more than 50 home runs. He's still above average, not a stud, but above average third baseman. But he strikes out 170 times. But his hard contact rate is fantastic. When he hits it hard. But he doesn't hit it that often, and he hits 220, 230. He doesn't have a contract, and he's only 33, 34 years old. Why doesn't he have a contract? Because he doesn't really bring much to the table except home runs, strikeouts, and he doesn't bring very many walks. And the Yankees are still in that mode. And what they don't do is they don't have a cohesive lineup. They just have a bunch of the same guys. That's your saying. They have a bunch of the same guys.
Yeah.
You need a lineup. Judge should never be batting second on a team where your 8 and 9 hitters have on base percentages below 300. It ruins his ability to knock in runs. But it
Yeah.
doesn't help that the Yankees don't have a 350, 360 leadoff hitter with an on base percentage of 350, 360.
I'll go that you're looking at an entire lineup with poor contact
Yep.
quality. They just have a tendency, and they're also because of their base to base skills, and the general lack of base running ability. They kill a lot of rallies without, on the bases, without doing any of the small things, and they just can't advance runners. And that's something that they can't do in the season either. They haven't done that well seasonally. They
Right.
just they plummet you with 3-run homers. You get to October, and there's no way that they can
Nope.
that they can operate that team on those small necessary skills that people laugh at now. That seem to matter to win World Series. And all that anybody cares about is this one crazy stat that I keep hearing every year. Oh, the team who hits the most home runs wins it. And
No.
it's because they have hit the most home runs. It isn't easy to do. The
No.
teams that are lucky enough to be that great and have a great World Series or a great playoffs with home runs, those are the ones, of course, they're going to win because they've found a way to win.
The team that's
They've
hot
found a
wins.
way.
The
Yeah.
Yankees believe that the playoffs are a crapshoot. And it's a crapshoot because the Yankees' entire lineup is a crapshoot because it's a crapshoot whether they're going to hit. Everybody talks about, there's a lot of people, not everybody, a lot of people talk about run differentials being an evaluator of how good your team is. That's not
Yeah.
true. The
Yeah.
Yankees pummel people 14-1 and then lose games 3-2, 2-1. That's going
That's
to
it.
make for a great run differential, but it's not going to make for a team that can battle out those close games
Mm.
and do what needs to get done when it's a
Yeah.
low scoring game. And generally speaking, in the playoffs, the teams have better pitching, which means the games are somewhat lower scoring. Last year, there was a little different. It was much more high scoring 7-5 games than there was 4-3, 5-2 games. But it's just a bad lineup.
Well, it's we've been saying it for years. The Yankees possess many traits that are structurally at odds with how October baseball is won.
Perfect.
Bottom
That's a
line.
great. That's the best sentence you've said in as long as I've known you.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
but I think that that's just how it is. And the teams that have done well, I think if we look back at a lot of great teams of the past, they were able to do this. And I'm not saying long past. I mean, teams like the Red Sox in 18, and then I remember a great team that
The
nobody talks
Astros team,
about.
the Astros went from the team that struck out the most to the team that struck out near the least, and then they went when they did that they went on their
They
run.
won
Now,
a World
granted,
Series.
there's some cheating. Don't taking the cheating out of the equation, you still have to hit the ball to
Yeah.
score runs, even if you
Yeah.
know what's coming.
You got to do that. But the team that I keep thinking of, and this team was hard to play, and uh, they were not boring. The 2015 Kansas City Royals. Just ask the Mets
Yeah.
about that team and how hard they were to beat. How hard, because those guys, they didn't strike out. They had elite uh, uh, bullpen pitching, and then they had very good situational. I'm willing to say that if you have good situational hitters with a couple of home run hitters, you could probably win the World Series without having a good starting pitcher.
Well, I mean, look at the old Cardinals teams. I'm not saying that the Yankees should be the old Cardinals teams because they had one home run hitter in Pedro Guerrero.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah.
and they had a bunch of guys with 16 to 25 home runs, and Pedro Guerrero had 35. But you do need a
Hmm.
lineup where you're going to have some smackers at the top, like a Willie McGee and to a certain extent, Terry Pendleton and a couple of other guys that are going to make contact and set up. You need the table setters, as they call them. And, watching the Yankees and listening to the announcers year after year, they talk about, well, the analytics this, the analytics that, but when the analytics aren't in favor, they say, well, we use the eye test. And you know what?
Oh.
We all saw with the eye test last year that Grisham was bad in the outfield. We all saw that his at-bats were bad the whole from mid-August to the end of the year. We all
Mm.
saw the eye test that Bolby was not doing what he was supposed to do. If you want to say he was injured, fine, but he wasn't doing what he needed to be doing. We all could see that McMahon is not going to make contact, even if he listens to Kramer and moves closer to home plate. He's not going to make contact. He's just not a guy that makes contact. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter where he stands. It's an interesting thing, and they're not built to win. And then people start talking about, well, what are the odds that the odds makers have? What they think the Yankees are going to win. They think the Yankees are going to win. And
I don't get it.
my response to the odds makers are, you know what? The Cowboys, Notre Dame football, Notre Dame basketball, the Yankees, the Dodgers. These are the teams that have the most fans. When you
Yeah.
have the
So the
most
biggest,
fans, they
most
have a
bets are
tendency to
placed.
believe their team is better than they are. So when they say the Yankees win total in Vegas is 91, well, yeah, it's 91 because Vegas is in it to make money. They
Yeah.
want to have the same number of winners and losers on the bets so that their big is what they make money on. So when the
Yeah.
Yankee fans they started 88 and then they make it to 91, that's because the Yankee fans are betting that they're going to have more than those wins. Well, then today, and I'm going to play Joe Osteen now because he found the same thing that I found that I sent you guys this morning. Listen to what Joe Osteen says.
Hey guys, the Zips projection just came out with the Yanks having 87 wins and a third place finish this season. I'd be interested to see what you guys think of their prediction. I'm just getting ready for snow down here.
Yeah.
Bye.
So we will have to say this. So Jim Cantore was in front of Joe Osteen's house. That's never
With
a good
his
sign.
with his finger in his ear and a raincoat on, he
And
is
is holding
ready.
his hat on like a Jim Cantore. Jim Cantore from Dutton, North Carolina, in front of the house of Joe Osteen.
This is could
16
be
to
a bad
24 inches
day.
of snow. By the way, I gave Jake Gibbs a call today, and
How's he doing?
He's holed up in a hotel in Oxford
Wow.
because they're going to get a big ice storm. So he's in the
Yeah.
hotel.
Yeah, I'm looking
So,
over here. I'm seeing these numbers always surprise me,
so
but
just to go back to the Zips, just so you know, the Zips had them in fourth place, not third place. And the way Zips did it is they ran 1 million season simulations.
okay.
So, just like your brain, it works like a computer. And it's 1 million simulations of the season. And they came up with the Yankees in fourth place with 87 wins was the consensus. Um, you know, it's
Whatever.
possible.
It's a joke. The Yanks. I think the Yanks are perfectly have every chance to win 90. The only reason why the Yankees won't win is because the division could be very good. There's some
That's
guys
the
like
only
the
thing.
Red Sox. The Red Sox and the
Right.
Blue Jays are going to be better this year. So
Yeah.
who
The
knows?
Red Sox need their young players. If the Red Sox pull an Orioles and go backwards, the biggest thing to me with regard to the projections is not necessarily what the Yankees are projected. It's what the other teams are projected. Last year, both the Dodgers and the Yankees had the odds, meaning that you had to spend more than a dollar to just get a dollar back on your betting. This year, it's
Hmm.
only the Dodgers. The
Yeah.
Yankees are projected in the neighborhood of plus 850 as opposed to plus 250 to win and the ESPN. But on the other betting sites, the Yankees are plus 900 with Seattle and Toronto and the Mets even right behind them on the odds to win the World Series. With regard to the playoff chances, the Yankees are not even, they're not significantly different than the Toronto Blue Jays or even the Boston Red Sox for that matter. So it's, and division, the Yankees are literally the Blue Jays and the Yankees are right next to each other in projections as far as odds to win the division. So it's the separation that the Yankees used to have over other teams that's gone away. And this is a reduction in the separation, even though we know that because we're Yankee fans, just like we say there's a Yankee penalty when you make a trade, they try and rip the Yankees off. On the betting, it's actually lower odds because the Yankee fans, you go to Vegas and you're just Joe Blow Yankee fan. I'll put $100 down on the Yankees to win the division, the Yankees to win the AL's championship, and $100 on the Yankees to win the World Series. And that's just what happens. And now with betting nationwide, with not just DraftKings and FanDuel, but Kalshi now made it so that even in California you could have sports gambling, even though it's called trading. Which it's the Yankee fans are everywhere putting their money on it.
There it is. But back to the Zips. I find it interesting that some of the data that I'm reading, they show that there's some players that they're expecting to have standout seasons that are going to impact their teams significantly. I don't get how on earth anybody thinks the pressure cooker of New York is any different over in Flushing than it is in the Bronx. I think it's worse in a lot of ways there because the fans turn on the team, get very angry very, very quickly and have a lot of, and there's like this in Met world, there's a natural inclination that they're not going to win. They're not going to make the playoffs. The Yankees always make it. They just don't win because they come up
Yankee fans
short.
turn pretty quickly on Devin Williams.
But my point is, I don't see Devin Williams having a very good season with the Mets. I don't see the talent. I didn't see it. I didn't see the attitude. I don't see a winner in that guy. Maybe he's great in Milwaukee, great, but here, I can't believe he signed with the Mets. It shocked me.
Well, the amount of money that he and Weaver got, I'm glad the Yankees let them walk, and the amount of money these relievers are getting. I actually think that Williams was better than we think, but not good. That doesn't make him good. Just because you're at the top of a pile of crap doesn't mean you're anything but.
Yeah, for the first 2 months of the season, there's evidence on all of the programs of that time, with you studying all of our podcasts from that time, where you were saying that the biggest issue is he kept saying no. You were saying something else. You couldn't believe how many singles he was giving up. You said, I can't believe all the hits he's giving up. Yeah. The hits are outrageous, and that's the problem. It's everything else was, it was just they were hitting him when they weren't supposed to be. That's what we heard they wouldn't do. They said the bender, the time bender, or whatever, the air bender.
No,
it looked like a very slow changeup to me that everybody knew was coming. That didn't move a lot. No, maybe it'll be different. We'll see.
I don't know. I mean, look at what Soto did at the dinner. They had the Baseball Writers Association.
I heard something. What did he do?
Completely talking about how much he loved Judge and being on the same team as Judge. He does not say that about Lindor. So it's
no, they don't. They don't get along. Those two, do they? That's what's happening. He only has 20 years left on the contract. When can he opt out? 5 or 6 years?
I don't think he has an opt out.
Yeah, he has opt outs.
Okay,
he has opt out.
So
he definitely.
And that's when Stanton will be gone, and the Yankees will sign Soto to be their DH, which means that Judge has to continue to play the outfield. But
I don't believe it.
The other thing about the Yankees is they're older, right? You guys, people are more afraid than I am. I'm not as afraid of Judge, his age showing. Ooh, Adam has gone bye-bye.
I'm here. I just want to go turn the AC on.
So, AC?
Yeah, it's really hot in here.
Well, that's how you keep your house. Just so you know, while you guys across the country are having nice and cold weather, I played golf in shorts today. Just so you know. And by the way,
you, my friend. F you, and I'm because of.
The reason you weren't able to hear me is you were also not able to see me is because I'm wearing camouflage.
I couldn't hear. I couldn't see. There was a moment where you were gone. It's very stylish.
Look, I'm gone.
Impressed.
You can't see
I'm
me
impressed.
Now. I'm gone.
Camo Milla.
But
Try to say that. It sounds like a facial cream.
even if Judge regresses, you're still talking about a guy that's going to hit in the neighborhood of 50 home runs. He's going to
Yeah.
knock in 110 runs, and he's going to hit near 300, right? But the problem is he's going to get even more walks than he got last year because there's no way Grisham's hitting 35 home runs or 34 home runs again. And there's a
No.
chance that Bellinger had almost 30 home runs as well. What's the
Yeah.
odds on that? And Ben Rice, what's going to happen with Ben Rice? He had 26 homers last year.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. So now I think what we're going to do is, we're going to start moving to just a little bit of talk about process in the show here. I think we're going to start moving into analysis of what we see in spring training, which is going to be really nice the next couple of weeks. I'm very excited that they're coming back. I wish I were feeling more excited about buying a ticket and going. I have no, I'm not exactly excited to see anybody on this lineup except, and this team except Aaron Judge, but that's only 5 times a game. And it gets boring watching everybody else strike out. It's just, to me, not
Well,
that
listen,
exciting.
the starting pitching is, bullpen. I never worry about the bullpen because somehow or other Blake figures it out. Last year they
Yeah.
had a bad bullpen, but there was flashes and things that go on. Blake, but this year you're talking about them. No Rodon, who doesn't come back from injury strong. Every time he's injured, he takes a long time to get back to where he was
Mhm.
before the injury. Max Fried pitched a record number of innings. I'm really happy he chose not to be in the World Baseball Classic, and it was his choice. The Yankees were going to let him go. Luis
Mm.
Heel, every time he pitches a lot of innings, he gets hurt, like he did in 24, and then he missed with a lat
Right.
strain. He missed how many innings? Then you're talking about Will Warren, who was just an adequate pitcher, number 4 starter. He's going to come back out and throw 170 innings.
I
A
don't know.
lot of people.
I think if there's one area we're going to see improvement, I think we're going to see. I'm going to say this now, and you can look back on it in 6 months. I think Will Warren's going to have a really good year.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he's going to actually improve. I think that he's
I
got an
think
opportunity to
I
get
think
better.
he's a number 3, 4 starter, and he'll always be that, and that's
That'd
fine.
be
That's
good.
good. But the
I'll
problem
take
is
it.
they don't have Clark Schmidt for the entire season, and he was good last year.
That's a loss.
Yeah,
And
Cole's
Cole,
never
everyone's talking like
and
he's going to come right back.
Cole has never had an injury like this before.
Yeah.
What's going to happen now? Granted, when Justin Verlander, who's a good comparable for Cole, size wise, style wise, especially since the two of them really worked well together in Houston. Verlander, when he finally came back, which was more than a year after his surgery, he was a stud. But then you got a guy like Jacob deGrom. He came back from his surgery, and then he had to go back out and have another different problem with his arm.
Yeah.
When Rodon had an elbow issue, which he hasn't had TJ, when Rodon had an elbow issue, he came back, and then he had TJ. So Rodon does not heal well. So the starting rotation is going to be an interesting thing to watch, and they don't really have anybody. Elmer Rodriguez is on the 40-man roster. Chase Hampton is still out with his TJ until at least May. So they don't
I'd be
have.
willing to bet
Yeah.
this is going to be the year of Elmer. I have a feeling we're going to see Elmer sometime in the summer, and
Is it going to be Wabbit season or duck season?
it might be duck season. So I think I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be. He's interesting. I think is it La Grande or is it Lagrange? Do we know? I've heard multiple
and he's
name
not even on the
pronunciations.
40-man. So
So that could change.
Did you know Elmer is 6'3", 160 pounds?
Jesus
I looked that up today. I
Christmas.
was like, really?
He's skinnier than Rich Weil.
Rich
That's
Weil's not that
amazing.
skinny. He's soft in the middle.
Yeah, don't tell. That's mean. Come on, he listens to this on his way to work.
Oh, wait a second. He's better. He's in better shape than I am. But that's really like, again, if you're at the top of the pile of crap, you're still on the pile of crap.
The Pillsbury Doughboy, laughs at you, buddy. So on that note, I love ending on a funny moment. But listen, I think let's finish off on what we started with. That it's an embarrassment when the New York Yankees go on a Zoom call and talk about how everything is fine and great and they love this team.
Kevin
They
Bacon.
clearly don't love this team. It's what they are. They do, and I would love it, and it would make me very happy if he would just admit and say, you know what, we didn't have the offseason we were hoping for, but you know what, I had a lot of faith in these guys. I love these guys, and I think we have another gear. To me, that would be interesting.
They could say
that.
They could come out and say, listen, is our offseason exactly what we hoped for? No. but we're rolling it back with predominantly the same team that we had last year with getting Cole back. Say that that's a positive. Say that you're expecting development out of Rice, Wells, Caballero, and
Hmm.
these guys, and say we'll be able to take, based on the players we have on the roster, come August 3rd, which is the new trade deadline because of the wild key schedule. August 3rd, we'll be able to make adjustments between now and then, and we'll also have a better idea of some of the younger players we have at AAA, especially the pitchers, because
Bingo.
it's what it is,
Bingo.
and that's
And
it.
I think that's where they should go. And I think they would get a lot more love from the team. Still, the fans are still going to be angry because they didn't do enough. But you know what? Sometimes there's just not a lot for them to do.
Right, and
They
he could
did. I
he
think
could
they
even
always
say
rather have. They
we didn't
love
do things
Bellinger.
right. We didn't do things just for the sake of doing them. That's what he should
That's
say.
right. And that's important. And maybe there's a place for that. But I would have liked them to, this story about how we are a new team. No, you're not. You're not a new this isn't that you're not you're rolling back the same thing that you ended with. It wasn't enough. And when that happens, you're gonna have to take the heat for it.
It,
Accept it.
it's the new boss is the same as the old boss. That's I'm sorry, but Roger Daltrey, Pete Townsend had it correct.
You know. On that note, we will be leaving. Hey,
And
I'm gonna
you can
go.
look for us on YouTube, and
w-
we do post our YouTube link all over
How many
the
people, Mike?
internet.
How many people have
Do you want
been
to do you want to know how many
the other
people
day?
watch? So I've been having trouble editing. So I have my IT guy coming to my house tomorrow to help me with editing because they changed some of the things. So I can't edit as well as I was editing. Not that I was such a great editor to start with, but I will say, let me see where our videos are. There's our videos. We did end up with
Boy, I didn't
not as
expect
many,
it to take a half an hour.
not as many as others. It was only in the 60s um, from our
Hey
show
man, they're
last.
60, but they are the loyalists. Those
Yeah.
people.
Hey, we've been getting consistently over 250, and being that we're inconsistent when we were doing the show, and we're going to get more consistent now because it's getting close. I mean, we in
Well,
essence,
how
we've in
many
essence,
people how many have subscribed to our channel? Can I
we
ask you that
have more
question?
subscribers than I thought we would have. I will tell
And
you
so it
now.
doesn't matter when we go live.
We have
If long as we have subscribers, they get a notice.
We are up to 51 subscribers.
So 51 people get a notification of some form or another that we are
We put something
you
out there
know
in the world.
we put something out there. So that's not bad. I think our goal will be to try to get, I love when people like uh, you know, Steve Schmidt go on and say, we're trying to get to 100 million subscribers. We want to get to 1,000. We want to get to 100 subscribers.
Let's
Thank
get
you
to
very much.
75
Let's
and
get
go
to
from
7.
there. And
Exactly.
we'll see what happens as we get more consistent during the year. That's when we get it. I mean, we're getting views. It's good.
I think we should go to, I'd like to, and I hope people don't mind us having this conversation, but I'd like to go to a daily format where we do maybe 10 or 15 minutes. I mean, really
I
fast
think,
at the
yeah.
end
I
of a
mean,
game. That'd be
especially when
fun.
the season starts, we can talk about the games, and that's
Yeah.
even if it's just one of us that gets on that can do it after a game. That works
Just a
out fine.
quick 10 or 15 minutes in and
10 or
out.
15
And
minutes
then,
on, wow, well, look what Judge did. Oh my God, I can't believe Boone did that with the bullpen. Oh my God, Boone's a genius. Just, talking about the games a little bit more works for us. There wasn't, these guys, we did one show in November. We did one show in December. We've done two
well,
in
there's been
January.
nothing to talk about.
There's
I've
no,
been
yeah, and
laughing at
people are
these
just talking
guys who
after the
make
boss.
content. So, will the Yankees go after Rod Carew? I mean, it's just like, anything that they can talk about, they'll talk about.
Rod Carew.
Do you remember the year that the Yankees went after Rod Carew? And that it's just, it's mindless. I get it. They've got sponsors. They've got to keep the content coming. We don't. We love you guys. We're going to
We're
only
loyal
be here
to
when it's
we have
relevant,
loyalty to nobody except ourselves and
except
the
to
51
ourselves.
subscribers we have.
That's right. That's right. And only to you 51. Anyway, have a great one, folks. We'll be back soon.
And good
Michael?
luck in prison.
Yes, there we are in prison again.